Episode 632.
What?
Chen Guo was still trying to process what had just happened, but Deception's movements never stopped. He wove through the chaotic crowd, and wherever he passed, every gleaming gold coin and piece of equipment on the ground vanished without a trace. Every strike drew a spray of blood and claimed another life. In just over 10 seconds, the ground had cleared up considerably. 4 players in the melee had already fallen to his blade, each strike a clean kill, never missing its mark. Not just Chen Guo watching from the sidelines, but even the players caught up in the melee only just now realized what had happened. And the moment they saw the ID above his head, the players from the 3 major guilds instantly focused all their aggro on him. For guild players who regularly organize team activities like boss raids, that name was hardly unfamiliar. Deception was the scavenger that gave every guild team a headache. This man had no guild, and no one had ever seen him with any team. He moved alone, appearing and vanishing without a trace. Compared to your average scavenger, this guy had a lot more direction. Unlike the typical scavenger who just picks through the scattered loot, he also sizes up the players locked in the middle of a brawl. Deception didn't just scavenge, he looted while the chaos was hot. According to incomplete statistics from the major guilds, this scavenger's damage far exceeded that of an ordinary one. Because this man was a master, and he specialized in lethal ambushes. His sudden, opportunistic strikes sometimes even had the power to turn the tide. Take a party grinding down a boss, for instance. The situation might be tight, but they're just about managing. Deception came by to scavenge, but the loot on the ground wasn't enough. He spotted something decent on the tank, bided his time, slipped in, and stabbed the tank clean through. The tank went down, but Deception didn't get the drop he wanted. He just dusted himself off and walked away. But without a tank in the party, how could they possibly take down the boss? This kind of situation was far more annoying than your average scavenger. So, the moment they made out the ID above his head, a coordinated volley erupted without warning. Skills and attacks of every kind came raining down in a frenzy. And then, tragedy struck. These attacks came from 3 different guild teams. They had no friendly fire immunity, so they didn't bother to hold back. They were rivals, after all. Taking out Deception along with each other was a win-win. A sweeping wave of flashing blades, cannon fire, and smoke rolled through, and in its wake, a wide, empty circle was left among the crowd. Bodies lay strewn across the ground, a few pieces of dropped equipment glinting among them. Dark Fragrance and the others were practically drooling, but after that concentrated barrage, not even 10 times the guts would make them rush out to pick up the loot now. While Dark Fragrance and the others were fuming, a figure suddenly burst out of the ground in the middle of the clearing. Deception's dusty form reappeared before everyone's eyes. Before anyone could react, Deception had already scooped up the equipment scattered among the corpses.
Earth core slash, huh? Not bad.
Chen Guo heard Yeshu suddenly blurt that out beside her. Earthcore decapitation technique, of course she knew it too. It was a level 35 ninja skill, a technique for burying yourself underground to launch a sneak attack. But a skill is only as good as the player using it. Deception, however, had turned Earthcutter into an evasive maneuver. He'd triggered it in a flash, burrowing underground to dodge that wave of extreme fire, and now he popped back up. Without a word, he scooped up the dropped gear first and foremost. For a scavenger, Deception had already scooped up a decent haul. Even if half of it dropped when he died, he'd still come out ahead. The 3 guilds were furious. Watching Deception loot the clearing without a shred of restraint, they sent up another wave of intense fire, and this time they blasted him to ash on the spot. But in reality, no matter how fierce your attack in glory, you could never achieve such a devastating effect. Clearly, what they'd shattered was just a shadow clone. As for the real body's whereabouts, everyone was frantically swiveling their cameras to find it.
Over here!
With someone's shout, another blood arc rose high, but when the man fell, nothing dropped from him. The drop rate in the heavenly domain was high, but it wasn't 100%.
Broke ass.
Watching the three guilds charge at him, Deception actually had the nerve to complain, even popping a gloomy expression over his head. Then he leaped up, swung his blade mid-air, and with a sharp shing, drove it into a crack in the wall. His body curled mid-air, his feet landing squarely on the half-exposed blade jutting from the wall. He kicked off it for another leap, yanking his arm back, and the blade in the wall flew out on its own, straight into Deception's hand. This was the unique feature of the ninja blade, a long cord attached to the hilt. When the blade was wedged into a crack in the wall to serve as a foothold, the wielder still held the cord, using it to retrieve the blade after stepping off. Additionally, the ninja blade's scabbard was hollowed through, allowing it to double as a breathing tube in certain situations. The ninja blade wasn't class-locked like the witch's broom, but only a ninja could truly unlock its full potential. Many of the ninja class's skills, however, absolutely required the use of a ninja blade as their weapon.
Not bad with the ninja blade, huh?
Watching Deception toss out a casual, broke losers before vaulting over the wall, Ye Shu couldn't help but admire the guy's style. The players from the three major guilds saw Deception making off with a huge pile of their stuff and thought, how could they let him get away that easily? All the classes that could scale the wall were climbing over it now. But Deception alone wasn't enough to suddenly unite the three guilds. They were climbing the wall, saw someone who wasn't from their own guild, and just swung a blade at them. There was no one giving orders here. The root cause was that neither guild had a commander. Over in the Jaya Dynasty camp, they did have a commander, but with the other two guilds fighting chaotically, Meng Tianchen couldn't exactly order his people to stand down. He had no choice but to join the chaos himself.
What do we do now?
Chen Guo swept the ground again, checking if there was anything left to scavenge.
Scavenging, huh?
Yi Shu, however, kept talking as he executed a command. Lord Grimm leaped into the air, raising the myriad manifestations umbrella overhead. With a click, the canopy folded shut, the 8 ribs contracting and shifting into 4 longer ones. Then it spun like a helicopter rotor, flying straight toward the direction Deception had fled.
Where are you going to pick it up?
Chen Guo asked, her voice full of surprise.
That guy scooped up all the good stuff. I'm just taking it back.
You call that picking? That's a full-on loot explosion.
Yeah, I learned from him.
Chen Guo thought about it, and yeah, that was true. Deception wasn't just a scavenger picking up gear, he was actively taking people out. In less than a minute, he'd already dropped several players from the 3 major guilds.
I'm going to.
Chen Guo had never been interested in scavenging. She figured following Ye Shu to hunt this guy down might be more entertaining. She quickly checked the coordinates where Yi Shu had moved and rushed after him.
Better watch out. This guy's no pushover.
I can see that.
Shen Guo noted that being able to move so freely through the ranks of 3 guilds was no small feat. It had barely been a minute, and the 3 guilds were in chaos, 2 of them without a commander. But pulling that off still took more than just an ordinary expert. For a stark contrast, look at the Shadow Fragrance crew. 5 of them, teamed up, and even they didn't dare charge into the thick of it. They'd each lock onto a single target, wait for the right moment, then swoop in, grab it, and bolt. Where was the sweeping, devouring momentum that Deception brought to his scavenging?